Hey guys, it's Mimi1239 here, and I'm here to give you guys my review video for Girl Meets the Great Lady of New York. I'm gonna turn this a bit over here. Okay, so this episode starts with Corey teaching about the Great Lady of New York, so the Statue of Liberty, and he asks Maya, like, who is she? And Maya says she doesn't know, like, she just doesn't say anything, and so Farkle's like, should I just talk? But then Maya's like, no, I actually do know stuff, but she actually doesn't know much about history because she doesn't know, and Farkle does, obviously. What Corey wants the class to do is to find out about their own heritage, where they come from, what's their story, and Riley asks, obviously, where do we come from? And he's like, well, we come from Philly. That's where Corey and his family is from, Philadelphia. Riley's like, well, that's it? Like, I want a better story to tell, right? Corey's like, well, there's a lot of things that, you know, we come from, so we come from a lot of things, but not out of the country. They're from America. And then the intro comes on, and then after that, it's the end of the day, I guess. So Riley is home from school, and she hears music. She hears, I think it's Latin music, I think. She's like, I've never heard this music before, like, was it always there or something? And she explains to Topanga, obviously, about, like, her culture. She doesn't find anything interesting about her heritage. I don't remember what Topanga said. I don't remember what she said, but she said something, I guess, important. We see that she's making a dish from Cuba because Augie has a new friend from Cuba, and I've been to Cuba before. I went when I was like 10 years old for a week. It's really hot there. Just a lot of poverty, which is really sad. I just remember going there when I was 10. I was like experiencing like their culture and stuff like that, like their dances. And what I've learned is that in some Spanish speaking countries there are some words or phrases that are different, and so like if I say something in Spanish from my country, it's a different meaning than in some other countries in like South America or even Mexico, Cuba, Spain, whatever. Everything's not the same. So the dish that he was talking about, the kid in this episode, I don't think I know it. I'm not familiar with it. So then Ava comes in and she's like dancing. I don't know what that is. It's Cuban. She's dancing like a Cuban girl. And she's wearing all this jewelry, and I guess that's how they dress. I think so. I don't remember that much about it because I was 10. It's been like 8 years. Oh yeah, it is a bit over the top. That part. We're back in the classroom. Everybody in the class basically, like, they kind of misinterpret their heritage. Like, they talk about like souvenirs that come from their country. It's not the only thing about their heritage that they should learn about. It's about like the history, what happened, how their families got to go to America and why they're there. And Riley doesn't really know what to say about her stuff. She throws cheese at everybody. Maya, she's Irish. She throws soap at everybody, I think. And she starts dancing on top of Yogi's desk. That actually happened. And then Lucas and Zay, they come from Texas, and they have those foam fingers that say, don't mess with Texas. Did Lucas say any... Where did Lucas say he's from? What? Did he say where he's from? What? Did I miss that? Or did he actually say, is his whole family from Texas? I know Zay isn't, obviously, but what about Lucas? Did we learn? I have to rewatch the episode again, but like they're from Texas, but not entirely. So then Farkle, it was time for him to present whatever he was supposed to present, his heritage, his story, and he says that he's still searching about it, so he doesn't really know yet because a lot that came from his heritage and story doesn't exist anymore, was destroyed obviously like during the war, which he doesn't explain. He doesn't really tell people where he's from. He doesn't say it to his friends yet, but he knows he's from Denmark because his grandfather, I think, was from there. Riley apologizes to Zay's grandmother about the cookie, but it wasn't the actual grandmother that gave him the cookie from like 2 episodes ago. It was the other grandmother, so she got jealous that the other grandmother is like bribing Zay, which is funny. Like, are they gonna bring this cookie thing up like every single episode now? I thought we were over that, but at least she apologized. Zay, he discovers that he's actually from Africa, and everybody's just like, wow. And then he's like, I'm glad to know where I've come from. So then again, Riley, like, she's like, I'm boring because her whole like history is just American history. Like, everything that she is American. Topanga says people that came before her have been in different parts of the States. So they've been in San Francisco, where they learned Chinese culture, Philly, where they learned Dutch culture. So in reality, what we will learn later is that Riley is a lot of things. She is a lot of cultures because she's learned a lot of the culture. America's supposed to be like a multicultural country. Corey and the kids, they go to see a baseball game. Rafael, I think, yeah, Rafael, he saw that his cousin is actually in the baseball game. He says America's great and blah blah blah. And then they're at the school event, the culture event, at their school. The gang learn about a culture from one of the kids in their class, which is nice to learn about a culture that is from somebody else's that were just introduced to this episode, which is good. It's good. I like it. I like this scene especially because it does get into a bit of like the details of what this grandmother experienced in her time when she was a child and how she managed to escape and come to the States, how a lot of people in her family didn't make it. She was like a survivor and she wasn't supposed to go because she was crying a lot, and it was very sad to hear, but she's happy to tell her story, which is great, and they learn from it. And it's nice that their classmates knows 3 languages. It's good to know a lot of languages. Maya says she loves the Ireland part of the cultural event, and then Farkle, like, he stays quiet. Zay's like, can you just like tell us where you're from? What is your story? Farkle is really uncomfortable because he doesn't want to say anything. He knows a lot, not enough I think, but he knows a lot because everything that went like on with him in his story is very dark, just like the grandmother of one of the classmates. You know, it's very sad. Maya wants to take Katie to Ireland so they can know about their culture. Riley takes everybody on a field trip outside. She points to the Lady of New York, I guess, on the side of the wall. There's a painting there, a mural, and Riley's like, that's me. Kind of looks like her actually. Now I get it. This lady on the wall is like various colors, and that represents all the cultures, so that is Riley. That is her. She represents culture. She represents everybody there, I guess. Corey lets them out early, which I'm just like, where are their bags? Like, don't they need bags? I've never met a high school teacher that will let their students out early. Farkle sits down and he's about to talk about his history. He says that he doesn't know much about his grandparents and stuff because almost all his family members died, and his grandfather managed to survive by a Christian family, took him in, raised him. That Christian family was Minkus. Stuart Minkus comes from that. He's like his son, the son of Grandpa Minkus. It's really sad to hear, and Riley obviously comforts him, and it's heartwarming. He was like very shocked, and she just like went in and hugged Farkle, which was really nice. Initially I thought that this conversation was gonna be between just Riley and him because of what I've seen on Twitter, that they hugged and everything, but I thought that was actually the case. I guess it wasn't. He actually talks to everybody about this, and I love how Zay understands it the most. I love the part where Farkle says, even though I don't know a lot about my heritage, a big part of it I'm still learning, and part of your heritage is obviously who you will become, so it's not just about the past, it's also the present and the future, which I've been learning a lot about this week. This is the weird part, the ending. Ava wants Augie to massage her feet. Raffi says that there's a girl like Ava, shows like a FaceTime or something, and she's there and she's just Ava but in a wig. They both rub the girl's feet, and it's so that's how the episode ends. I honestly thought that this episode was going to be centered more on like Farkle, but I don't know, I wish they would have talked more about him because it only came up till like the end when we found out more about him. I wish they would have just talked more about it, even like had a lesson on like the Holocaust and everything. I've always been very interested in that. Yesterday I watched 2 movies about the Holocaust with my sister because I've always been very interested in it. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas and The Book Thief. I've also always been very interested since I was in grade 9. And Frank, I read that book like 2 or 3 times. It's very informative and like it makes you become less ignorant. I think we need more of that rather than being closed-minded. I want to know what you guys think because I'm really curious to know how other people viewed this episode specifically because it is about culture, and I guess I should talk about where I'm from and stuff like that now. I'm from here, Canada, Toronto, multicultural city, but my parents are from Ecuador, which is in South America, and we are from the city Quito, which is the capital city. My mom's mom, which is my late grandmother, she was raised on a farm. I don't know much about my dad's side, but what I do know is that here I go with history. When the Spanish came to Ecuador to take over and invade the country, they mixed with the Aboriginal people there, and they made this type of race called mestizos, which is what I am, which is what my parents are, and everybody else in my parents' family. My dad's side of the family came to Canada in the 1990s, early 1990s. They came here. Then my mom joined my dad, and they came here and they had my sister and I. The majority of my dad's side of the family is here. They live here. I was born here, born and raised, but sometimes we go on vacation back to Ecuador, and it's a different place. Obviously, I guess I get the curly hair from my dad, and I get the darker skin tone from my mom's side, mostly, I think. But I've grown up in this city, Toronto, multicultural, so that's a little bit about me. So let me know in the comments below a little bit about you. Do you guys know what your history is? And if you do, let me know. And if you don't, ask your parents and then let me know, because I really want to know. Did you relate to any of the things that happened in this episode? Like, if you're Irish, do you understand a bit better of what like Maya talked about in this episode? Or if you're African, did you understand what Zay was talking about? Or if you're just solely American, do you understand Riley's perspective? If you're not any of that, then that's even better, because I want to know more about everybody. Oh, I also know Spanish, so I know 2 languages, so I'm bilingual. I don't know French, I'm sorry. I studied French, I didn't learn it well. That's my story. Let me know what your story is. I give this episode, I guess, 8.5, because I felt like there's still a lot that needs to be discussed, especially with like ignorance and stuff like that. I really want an episode on that, like ignorance, and I know that's gonna get it more into like political issues and stuff, but I want that episode. What was your favorite moment in this episode? I think I know what it is for a lot of you guys. It's the hierarchical scene. Yes, okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for always watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye!